Hello YouTube. This week I've got the keys to a 2007 Lamborghini Gallardo. Let's take a look. So, courtesy of onemorelap.ca and Calabogie Motorsports Park, I've got this 2007 Lamborghini Gallardo Spider. It's an interesting car. You don't see too many of these around, and of course in the yellow it really stands out with this livery sponsored by Continental Tire. Yeah, this car really does stand out on the road, and everybody kind of looks at you while you're driving it and yells at you, "Nice car." You know, it's a 10-year-old car, but these were about 250,000. I'm guessing it's pretty close to that because they were 190,000 US for the non-convertible. Then you add that was for the convertible, and then you add the automatic, with which this has a 6-speed automatic transmission, which is a manual, which is computer controlled. It added 10 grand US, so about 210 grand US, and then I don't know what the exchange was back in 2007. It was pretty close though, so we're probably about 230 to 250,000 Canadian. And now you can pick one up used, depending on the condition, between about 120 to 150,000. It's a pretty cool car. Of course, you know, it's an exotic. You park this someplace and everybody wants to look at it and wants to ask questions about it. It is all-wheel drive, and it's pretty basic. It's kind of funny because 2007, I guess, you had pretty basic stuff. It doesn't even have cruise control. It does have a backup camera, but you kind of need it because you can't see back at all. Let's climb inside here and show you what we got inside. Just come around front here and show you the frunk. So this is that's pretty cool, actually, that Lamborghini logo. So this is your trunk space in this car. There's not very much inside space, and not much space in the trunk either, as you can see, but you do have a little bit of space for kind of a backpack, an overnight bag or something like that. So on the inside, as I said, it's kind of basic. You got your speedo on the right here. You've got your tach on the left, water temp, and a fuel gauge. And I'm just going to put the key in and show you that light up. There you go. And we'll close the door. And you see here, so it's got the temperature, outside temp, and your fuel economy in there, and then your odometer and a clock over here, basically. So it's pretty basic. Up top, you've got oil pressure, oil temp, and voltage, and then you've got a bunch of vents that you can kind of rotate and adjust. Power windows here, electronic stability control on and off, fuel cap release, fog lights, headlights, and the four-ways. We've got automatic climate control system and heated seats, and this is a little bit different and interesting. You press that and then you kind of dial it up, so, and then press that, and otherwise you've got your fan controls as well on auto, or you can crank the fan up and down, and or put it on auto, and then you can crank the temperature up and down. So they kind of use this one knob for a lot of things. You've got your mirrors here. You can adjust your mirrors, which are actually really, really good. This car's not the greatest to see out of, as you can expect. It's kind of low slung, small windshield. Well, it's a big windshield, but it's on an angle, so a very small angle, so you don't get very much view out the front. But the side mirrors, you can adjust. You can see the side of your car if you need to, and you can see quite a bit into the other lanes. So you don't really have that much of a blind spot. It's pretty good. Also down at the bottom here, you've got a button to turn it into automatic mode, which doesn't work that great. I'll talk about that in a minute. You got sport mode, and then you've got your traction control button to turn on and off. A couple buttons here to bring the top up and down. This is a button here for the camera, so rear camera, which you can actually turn on while you're driving. That's there's not very many cars that allow you to do that. So there you go. There's the rear camera there. You can turn that on and off. And then this button here, what it does is raise the front end so that you can get over any kind of large speed bumps. Stereo system, Alpine stereo system, pretty basic. You know, there you go. It's got we've got CD, radio. So it is pretty basic. And you've got paddle shifters on the steering wheel. There's nothing else on the steering wheel. You see this? It's kind of like, you know, they're kind of trying to, I think they were kind of going for race car, right? Very basic here. Keep your attention to driving. You've got paddle shifters which don't move with the steering wheel. So that is a little bit annoying. I kind of like the paddle shifters that move with the steering wheel. But you get used to it after a bit. And on the left here, you've got your turn signal stalk, which is, you know, and your brights. It switches your brights on and off. And then on the right is your wipers, just like any other car. So, you know, you paddle shift up and down with this. To get into reverse, there's a R button over here. You press R, and that pops it into reverse. If you pull both paddles, it puts it into neutral. The car has to be running for that, but it puts it into neutral. A little bit weird, I guess. You just kind of come to a stop, turn off the engine. There's no park. Even in a lot of the, you know, like the DSGs and the Volkswagens and that of the cars now, they all have a park. This doesn't have a park. You just come to a stop, turn off the key. That leaves it in gear so the car won't roll away. And as soon as you start it up, you have to hold the brake fairly firm. And as soon as you start it up, it'll pop into neutral. And then if you let go of the brake, you start rolling if you're on a hill of any type. So you have to remember that if you do want to just shut it off and not use the handbrake, so there is a handbrake here. So if you don't want to use the handbrake, just remember to pop it back into gear before you shut it off. You know, it's as I said, again, pretty basic. This is kind of cool. Carbon fiber door handle, and all this is kind of carbon fiber. You know, this is all leather wrapped with the Lamborghini badge, and this is perforated leather. Looks pretty nice. Back here, you've got a couple switches for interior lights and map lights, and a cup holder, and a 12-volt power outlet here. So it's pretty basic, but it's really, you know, this is more of a statement car and about the drive. So let's put down the top, show you what it looks like with the top down, and then we'll go for a drive. All right, it takes about 20 seconds to put the top down, so there you go. Press the button now, and you'll see it's quite the elaborate mechanism that happens here. The back engine cover kind of comes up, flips up, and the top comes down, and then that engine cover closes back over that top. So it is pretty cool. And it's done. There we go, and then you can leave the windows down. Alright, so let's start it up, and you'll hear it coming to life. Sounds great when you start it up. Pop it into gear, and then get rolling. Now this is a 512 horsepower, I believe it is, 5-liter V10 engine, so a ton of power. This car is not that light, 3,800 pounds. I saw a thing on Wikipedia said it was 0 to 60 miles an hour was 4.3 seconds. So it's not that quick, but it's still very, very fast car. And it sounds pretty awesome. You know, it is a 10-year-old car, so it does have a little bit of creaks and rattles. But you know, if you pay your $149, you take this for a rip around the racetrack at Calabogie Motorsports Park. It's quite the experience. You know, driving it around town, you know, driving it out on the twisty roads is fun to drive. You know, I'm used to kind of driving race cars, so when you get on the track and you drive race cars, it's a little bit different. But if you've never driven anything like this, it's quite the experience. Now I mentioned that automatic mode. You press that and it goes into automatic here, and then you don't have to do anything, you don't have to shift. The only thing I don't like about it, when it does downshift, as you can tell, there you go, if you just hit the gas, it downshifts. The shifts are abrupt, kind of don't happen when you expect them, and I find when you're just cruising, see, it's kind of stuck in 4th gear now, and when I can be in 6th gear. So I'd rather just upshift manually, and then actually when you brake, you'll see that when I slow down here for this stop sign, it's going to downshift anyways, so I don't need to leave it in automatic mode. So I just do the upshifts myself and let it deal with the downshifts. So out on the road, it doesn't, it rides pretty good. It's still a street car. It doesn't beat you up or anything like that. It's still got a nice enough ride. The pedal box down here with your brake and gas is a little bit narrow. I'm not sure where they put the clutch on the manual transmission, because I barely have any room to get my foot. Like, my left foot kind of wants to sit underneath the brake pedal. Kind of weird. The dead pedal is really high, so maybe the clutch is really high. I'm not sure. So that's a little bit weird. And not having cruise control, you can't really rest in a kind of, you have to drive the car all the time. So if you're out on the highway, that can get annoying, I guess. But besides that, drives like any other car. The all-wheel drive would be great in the winter if you want to drive this car in the winter. It's great in the rain. You don't have to worry about that supercar power and the torque, and just in the rain with that heavy engine in the back of the car, you're not going to spin out in the rain. You've got that all-wheel drive to kind of save you a little bit, so that's good too. So there it is, 2007 Lamborghini Gallardo Spider. You can drive this one yourself, 2 laps for $149 Canadian at Calabogie Motorsports Park, and you can add more laps to that. And they also have a Ferrari GTR and a Porsche 911 that you can take around the racetrack with an instructor. It's just, I didn't mention the brakes on the first walk around. This is an 8-piston front caliper, and the rears are actually 4-piston. So even on most high performance cars, you get a 4-piston on the front, so you get a 4-piston on the rear in this one. Pretty high performance car. Hope you enjoy watching this one, and please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.